Val, welcome to the Elevating Resilience podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So today we have a special guest, Val Barnaby from Essa Performance and Fitness. He is a former pro and collegiate athlete, and he has an awesome business here right in Tinton Falls. I'm very excited to have Val on. So when I was at Monmouth Regional, Val kind of helped us out in the weight room for a while. He coached there, and my husband's pretty obsessed with him, thinks he's the greatest guy in the world. And I was just love to see what he did with our athletes in such a short time, and know a lot of people that go to his center. And I'm excited to have this conversation about the mental game as well. So Val, we're going to start out with, tell us a little about your story.
First and foremost, thank you again for having me.
Of course.
My story, young kid from, born and raised in Jamaica, raised in Franklin Township up in Somerset County. Raised by a mother that had, we had, 8 of us?
Oh, wow.
3-bedroom apartment, and, so I get my work ethic from. So thank you, Ma.
I love that. Yes. And so where did you play college, high school ball?
So I played high school ball at Franklin High School in Somerset County.
Okay. What position were you?
Linebacker, center.
Okay.
Did 1 year of prep school up in Kent Hill and Reedfield, Maine.
Mm-hmm.
And then went on to Rutgers to play my collegiate career there, and then spent a little bit of time at the professional level with the Jets and the Detroit Lions. Finished out playing some arena football.
Cool.
So
are you a Lions fan?
No, not really. But I'm a Dan Campbell fan.
Okay.
It was one of my teammates when I was there. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Good guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. And so in your playing career, anything specific that you went through that really you had to go through adversity, or I'm sure you have a million awesome stories. What's one that comes to mind?
Oh God. Just playing the game alone, you get thrown with so many curveballs. A game is never going to be perfect. You can be up by 21, you can be down by 21. Right? You can tie the game up like that. So you get thrown in an adversity situation where the tide shift. Right? Okay, how you gonna stop this nosebleed? Right? They're running at you. How you gonna stop it? All right, you got to knuckle up. Focus a little bit harder and just execute your job to the best of your ability.
And you played for Shiano at Rutgers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And we were just talking a little bit before we started filming, but tell me that story again about the day where you didn't think you had to represent the R.
Oh yeah, I mean, you learn a great deal about yourself when your back is up against the wall, and Coach Shiano does a good job of that with getting his players to understand the mental aspect of the game. Like, you spend so much time in the film room. From a film room, you got to go out onto the field and translate what you just learned in the film room. And now you got to put it into play, put it into motion, and you got to execute it at a fast pace. And talking about a fast pace, I'm gonna pivot here a little bit, because the transition from college to the NFL for me wasn't a big difference because of how we practiced.
Okay.
And we practiced so fast, and we spent endless amounts of hours with our strength coach and Jay Butler, and it was this constant movement, fast pace, and that's the way our game translated and onto the field. So the mental aspect of it was, you bring it to your breaking point. Hot summer day, about 120 degrees on the turf, and I think somebody did something wrong. Shiano just had enough of it. He says, "You know what? On the line."
Yeah.
And we ran and we paid the price. But you know what? You find out who you are and who you want to stand next to when it gets rough.
Yeah.
And that year, I think we beat Michigan State.
Okay.
They're cramping, we're not. So we understood the price that we paid to get to that point and to get that win. And that's a huge win coming from a Big East team, which was at the bottom of the Big East at the time, that, for a turning point in our program.
Yeah.
So
I spent a lot of time talking to people about mental health, and then there's this mental toughness, and some people will say, oh, don't use that word mental toughness, because a kid thinks that's all they can be is mentally tough. And I try to say that line can be crossed. If nowadays say a high school coach in this area tried to do that, why do you think they couldn't do it? Or could they?
It could. Listen, it's put on the wall in my facility.
Okay.
Mental toughness defeats physical fatigue any day.
Yes.
The second your physical is gone, you have to refocus. You have to pull this in, right? The brain is the biggest muscle in the body, right? It does everything for you until it's gone. And then you have to be able to function, you know, so your mental toughness, your mental focus, it goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
You know, if you're just mentally shot,
yeah,
forget about the physical.
Yeah.
You need to pause. You need to
Yeah.
you need to take a time out.
Yeah.
You know, because this thing coming downhill fast and you're not ready for it.
And so like as I'm hearing you speak, what is becoming clearer for me even is like being able to say to people that if you have a positive mental health and you've tapped into what I call your mental fitness, mental focus, mental toughness, then you're prepared for that moment and your mental health will not suffer. But if you don't have a positive mental health because you're not taking those steps to put yourself in situations to be resilient, to tap into who you really are and why you do what you do, then yes, your mental health will suffer and you will not be able to rise to the challenge. And so, and they're like, yeah, but kids shouldn't think that that's how they have to be. They have to be that way. Life is not easy. They have to get to that point. But if they put the work in and they have the adults that help them put that work in, they're ready. They're prepared. Like you trusted Coach Shiana.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like, whatever you say, Coach, you trusted him because he cared about you. And that's something that I love reading about him, you know, like, and I think that's what like, well, kids and coaches are missing. Like, yeah, you want to make your kids, you know, run till they throw up. Okay. They're going to do it if they know you care and they're ready for it.
Oh, exactly. And, you know, we got so many stories with Coach. You know, I think we were playing Syracuse at the time. And then, like, I'm in my stance and I see him go down on the sideline. Like, what's wrong with him? Trainers around him, everybody's around him. Like, okay, that's somebody that you look to. So, like, a lot of guys come around and coaches, and some of them look to him as father figures, you know. And, you know, Shiano was that. You know, even I had a dad, but Shiano was that father figure to all his players. Like, just don't tell a coach that you love him. You love him. No, you mean that. Yeah. You know, and he was always like that. You know, he cared so much that, and it wasn't just about the winning part. The winning's going to come, and that's why he's always talking about the chop. You got to stay in that point and keep hitting that sweet spot. Yeah. And even if you get sidetracked off that sweet spot, you got to come back and focus on it. Yeah. You know, and that word mental sits in front of everything. Focus, toughness, you know, every other word that you just used, it's there, it's mental. Yeah. You know, life is mental. And, you know, I ask the kids, and I love asking the kids this, what's the biggest sport that's out there? Yeah. And everybody tells me soccer, now basketball. I'm like, come on. The biggest sport that's out there that everybody plays until you can't play it anymore, which is life. Oh. You know, and you tap into life, you have to mentally be prepared. Like, you don't know what can happen. You know, we can go to bed and wake up the next morning, we're in World War IV. You know, you don't know. Yeah. You know, I talk about Russia a little bit. They didn't know, the Ukrainians, they didn't know that they were going to go to sleep that night. Next, you know, I got missiles flying past me. And we don't know all that. Yeah. Right? You don't. You roll the dice when you step outside your doors. You know, you got life running through you. You're playing the game. You know, you're in control of your game. You know, first-time drivers, take a look at first-time drivers. You say, listen, you got to be careful when you're out there on the road. You got to watch everybody, right? But you also got to focus on the road. It's so many different avenues that we can go with this game of life. Yeah, and the true goal for sport should be to teach you how to deal with the game of life, because you're learning those foundational principles. And just to go along that, like, what would you say are 3 foundational principles you learned from just being an athlete? Well, just structure, being you know, being part of a unit. You know, that when you have structure to your life, and, you know, you have structure in the sport, okay, how can this relate back to my everyday movement without sports? You know, and you don't know what you have until you no longer have it. And a moment for me was, you know, not knowing if you're going to get drafted or not.
Yeah.
You put all your eggs in one basket,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like, okay. But I didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I was taking 19 credits while I was training for the NFL draft,
Mm-hmm.
training 8 hours a day. Come back home, I'm writing papers. I had to write 5 15-page papers. If I wasn't mentally prepared for that, I would have folded.
Yeah.
You know, and your supporting cast, got to understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Surround yourself with people that are like-minded.
Yes.
Are they driven just like you? And if
Mhm.
they're not, sometimes you got to pull people along.
Mm-hmm.
And during COVID, when this came out, was The Last Dance, and Michael Jordan words still sits with me. It's like, if you don't want to be pulled and pushed in that way, then you don't belong on the court with me.
Mm-hmm.
It goes something like that, and that stings in my head. And then, R.I.P. to Kobe Bryant, he followed that, and he has so many things happen in his life that, we talk about stepping over that line in between the court, in between the fields and regular life.
Yeah.
Got to put this hat on, got to put that on. He put the Mamba hat on, and he had to create that inside of him because of all the outside noise.
Yeah.
I got to block out this outside noise to focus on this.
Yeah.
So, structure.
Mm-hmm.
It all comes back to structure for me. If I don't have structure, I'm not waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning to get my training session in, knowing I have what I have on the hour of the hour.
Mm-hmm.
My kids see that.
Mm-hmm.
My wife sees that I get up and I have to do this because, not just for my physical, but also for my mental.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I tell the kid others, if I don't work out, if I don't push myself for 30 minutes, just give me 30 minutes. Right? I get a lavender sweat going and I'll get going. I need that 30 minutes.
How many kids you have now?
I have 2.
2 little girls, right?
I have my daughter is Violet and my son is Dallas.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
how old are they?
My daughter's 9 and my son is 7.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. You're in it.
Oh yeah. And just seeing her on stage, see him on stage, see him playing basketball nowadays.
Yeah.
He gets this look in his eye. It's just like, all right, I'm ready to go. Like, are you locked in? Yeah, you're locked in.
I
Are
love
you dialed
that.
in? Go get it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do stuff that nobody wants to do. Go get the rebound.
Yeah.
Right? Go hustle for the ball. Get on the ground.
Yeah.
Do that. Have fun with it.
I love it. So that's how you that's the influence you have on them with sports right now.
Just have fun.
Just have fun.
Have fun. We put too much emphasis on the sport itself, and we miss so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like I look back at when I played, I never cared for the next level.
Mm-mm.
I never thought about it.
Mm-mm.
Okay, coach coming in. All right, how you doing, coach?
Yeah.
All right, I'm just preparing for the next game. I'm preparing for the next day.
Yeah.
Because every day was so different for me. Because I was a football, basketball player. Every day is going to be different for me.
Yeah.
So, but I had to have that structure so that way I could pivot with my differences. So if I'm in football season and I know basketball is coming up, I still need to get my shots up.
Yeah.
I still need to be in the weight room training my body as a football player, but also, preparing for basketball.
Yeah.
You know, and at a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid, we didn't have, the structured facilities that we have now from the training facility.
Yeah.
I think it was Bill Parisi was just starting out. And there's a couple other guys I did that was just starting to add structure to the speed development of it.
Yeah.
And, everything else was just self-taught.
Yeah.
For a kid growing up in Franklin Township, we're going to go outside and run the hill, chase the field rabbits, and hopefully we catch one. That was the fun part.
Exactly.
And then just playing street football with your friends and not knowing what we were doing.
Yeah.
But we're developing that toughness. Because not every person is born tough.
No,
we're not. That's something that's learned. And
and it can be learned.
Yeah, you scrape your knees up. Don't come crying. Right?
Yeah.
Get up, wipe it off.
Yeah.
You gonna keep playing or you gonna go home?
Yeah. And society's different, which from when I used to hang out with 2 big dudes. You remember, did you meet Freddie Kemp when you were at Big Freddie Kemp? His dad was a baseball coach. They lived across the street from me, Freddie and Kyle. I played with them every day. They used to kick the soccer ball at my head over and over again. I loved it. I knew that's how I wanted to be a goalie. Like, there's something wrong with me. I wanted to compete with these guys. They would hit these bombs all the way down the street and they should be like, I'm going to catch it before it falls. But like, even though people say that's not happening anymore, why isn't it? Okay. Because we're taking our kids from club thing to club thing and club thing, and we're not giving the opportunity to do it, right?
To
Like
be a kid.
to be a kid.
Yeah.
And so within these high school sports and even within the club world, like there should be this time for these kids to be kids and to, maybe they play a different game to learn the speed or something just to say relax. Like, you don't have to have it all figured out. I mean, our 16-year-old brain, come on. I was still playing with like little mini Smurfs at 16 years old. These kids are like, I'm actually nervous around some 16-year-olds. Like, they intimidate me. But like, I don't know. I think we can. I don't know. I think it's a big culture shift, and I don't think it's impossible because I think kids really at their core want to be kids. And I think it takes people like you, like me, that are ingraining this, that it's okay to do that. And so
I 100% agree. It's okay to be a kid. Like, I say that a lot to the athletes. I'm like a 13-year-old girl. I'm like, do me a favor. Be a kid this weekend. Don't do something that you love, but right? But have fun doing it. If you really love it, you don't look at it as work. You don't look at it as, I need to do this. No, I want to do it.
Yeah.
And have fun with it. Sometimes you might just want to put on a pair of sweatpants and just bum it out on the couch. Be a kid, relax.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything is just so fast paced nowadays. And, and we can tap into this,
hours, right?
Technology.
Let's talk about that.
So, I mean, I see it with my own two kids. And I'm just like, all right, do something else besides, watch the TV.
Yeah.
Do something else. Go dribble. Go outside. Have fun. So.
Yeah, that's my big thing with technology is like, I don't know, I'm all into this like journaling thing. I'm all in this like finding that kid inside of you. These are some exercises that I really think are great. People are like, oh yeah, but the world is all about an app. Like, why don't you come out with an all-in app? And then no. I want a team to have a journal in their hands, and I want the coach to be involved, and I want everybody to do this activity that's about connection. And it's like, people are like, that's crazy. Like the whole world. No, it's not crazy, because if we don't start to do things different, this is what's going to happen. Like, unwind. Teach them like how valuable I'm sure it is for you more than for me. Like, I'm like, once a day, man, 3 hours, this phone goes to bed. Like, and it's the best 3 hours of my day. Do I need it for business? Yeah, but you need it.
I don't touch my phone past 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
When I get out of the gym, I just unless it's something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
I leave it alone until the next morning.
Did you ever have a conversation with one of these kids that do that? Like, what'd you say?
No.
I'm like, yeah. Put your phone away.
Yeah, it's not the end of all. I mean,
20 minutes into it, you stop seeing the kids that are like touching things to like scroll up, and then all of a sudden there is an onion layer that's just stripped, and they're present. Yeah. It's totally different. It's so cool. I mean, I'm sure you see it because I'm assuming they don't have their phones with you as they're training. That would not happen.
There's not time to be on your phone.
Exactly.
Whatever's happening over there ain't gonna go anywhere. Just stroll back when you get there. Get a drink of water, get back to work.
Yeah. So to shift gears, did you always know you wanted to have a sports and performance center?
Yes. I knew from a very young age that I was going to be in the business of helping people. I didn't know, I did not know that how far I can go with it.
Okay.
But at 15 years old, grasping, life and working and training, I wasn't always that kid that would go outside and just to run. And, I always had a work ethic, and then now I started to add a structure to it. I remember working and volunteering with Special Olympics, and that's where I kind of developed patience and, just embracing people, embracing things that was different than me, and different to me. And then, having your mom, have a heart attack at 15, 16 years old. Whoa, is either I'm going to panic, or I'm gonna bring her back because this is my mom.
Wow.
I ain't got time to panic. No, we're gonna adjust and we're gonna make sure we get her back right. And it happened 3 times, but my mom is still here. Knock on wood that she's here to see 75, 76 now.
Incredible.
That's
so cool.
And she talked to her every morning. Hey, to get up and get your walk. Right. So helping her, guiding her, wake her up.
Yeah.
She keeps me level-headed sometimes too when I get fired up. So, and just working with the kids in my town. I still have the little gym I built up there. Never got rid of it. Still sits in the back of the house, and that's where I spent a lot of my time at. That's why dragging a tire that my dad brought from work one day, put a hole in it. That was my sled.
Yeah.
I had cinder blocks to move. Those were my weights. And I started to see, oh, these are weights now. So let's pull these in, So I got that old school mentality.
Yeah.
Grab a pair of cinder blocks, strengthen that grip, do this, move them over there. That was just, and that's where I really found the passion in training. And then athletes started to gravitate to it. And I just ran with it.
That's awesome.
And I always ask myself, like, if I can put everything into one athlete, how do you want them to be? So this is where Essa comes from, with the explosive strength, speed, and agility. And I kept writing it down. I'm like, it's not making sense to me. I was like, what kind of athlete do you want to create? And then it doesn't have to just be a guy and girl, It's athletes. We're all one.
Yeah.
And I want them to be explosive. I want them to be fast. I want them to be strong. I want them to have that agility to them. And that's where I came up with Essa.
I love that. I never knew it. I was going to ask you. And I wanted to call you Val Essa, but and I was reading, I was looking over at it, and I was like, all right, it's Val. I know it. I remember it's Barnaby.
Oh yeah,
that's really cool. How many years ago did you come up with that?
Back in 2009.
Okay.
And I just, like I said, I just ran with it. And I was like, I'm never going to stray away from that.
Yeah.
I'll change with the times, but I'm never going to stray. Go away from the mantra behind it. And I tell the athletes, with this, and this has a story behind it, but live in the moment.
Yeah.
Your moments are now.
Yeah. Don't
worry about what's next. You gotta worry about what's now.
Yeah.
And if you take care now, your next step is going to be provided for you. And you have to earn that next step. And you just keep going. You keep going. So you live in the moment and work for your future.
That's a big message that you say to the kids.
Oh yeah.
What are some other ones that like they would know when Val is like means business, or like what's the big thing?
Well, they find out real quick when they're trying to catch their next breath, and I stop them in the middle of a dead run. I'm like, hey, take a second, because you're not giving it your all. Okay. Right? Who do you want to be in this moment? Do you want to be that person that's on the bench, not about to take this final shot? Right? Do you want to be the person that's on the field that's going to assist for the final shot? Right? Because that assist is even more important than the final shot. Not everybody needs to be that superstar that scores that point. It's how does it get there? And one of the sweetest plays I've ever seen in girls lacrosse, and it was just, it was our last club game in Dallas, and our defense, because I coach girls lacrosse, and I love every second of these girls.
I love it.
These girls are just phenomenal with what they're doing, the skill sets and stuff, and defense stops it. The ball to transition, and a guy rips a shot that I'll never forget. And it was one, and then the horn blows, tournament's over.
Yeah.
And that was one of the fondest moments I could ever remember in just that moment. And that's a moment that you can never take away from a coach that's seeing that. And it was just art, and it's what we practice, and we practice, and we practice. And in the moment, they were ready for it.
Yeah.
And it was just a beautiful, and every time we get together, we talk about that.
Yeah.
We talk about
Everyone
that.
was a part of it.
Yeah. And just to be there and to see that.
Yeah.
And now I'm watching them play at the college level, and they're doing the exact same thing, and they're just having fun with it.
That's cool.
Everybody has their ups and downs, but you take your lumps and you get up and you keep going.
Yeah, 100%. Which club team do you coach for?
Jersey Shore Select, JSS.
Oh, yeah. Is that Chris?
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah. Cool. And Kelly? Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah. So
when I first got into, Chris was a teacher when I was coaching at Shore when I first got out of college. He was a science teacher, and then when I first started lacrosse at Monmouth, I took over the program. I was always a softball coach, and I was like, this sport looks really fun. And actually, I was just trying to get more kids for the field hockey team. But regardless, Kelly really helped me, get my feet on the ground as well to figure out this sport and what it looked like.
Oh, yeah. They took me in and embraced me, and it was like, I could run the defense, and
Yeah.
they was like, Val, go whatever you got to go do. Talk to them, get them going, get them going. I'm like,
Yeah.
I got you, boss. Don't worry about it. And we just had that connection.
Yeah.
And we just ride, like, you know, on the road all the time. And,
Yeah.
you know, we got to get them going. We're talking X's and O's. We're talking game. Like, okay, right, we just got to show up and play. We got to get them to show up and show out and just have fun. And we always say that to them before they step on, just have fun.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
especially when it comes time around that recruiting time, just have fun. Oof. Have fun playing the game the way that you were taught to play the game.
Yeah.
And when you have fun with it, the rewards that you get 10 times more.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, it always comes back to being a kid.
Yeah.
You know, what are you doing in the backyard? Run around, have fun.
Yeah.
You know, have fun with what you're doing. Don't look at it as work. Oh, I need to do this. I have to do this. I got to score 10 goals so I can get this school to look at me. No, they want to see.
How do we change that? Is it just a constant conversation, or how do we?
You have to constant reassurance to let them know that it's okay to make a mistake. Right, learn from your mistakes. You know, and just like winning and losing. Yeah. And inside a win, right? Don't go watch film because coach is going to dissect everything. There's a lesson inside that win. Yeah. Inside a loss, there's a lesson inside that loss. Yeah. Right? What caused us to lose? What caused us to win? What did we do good? What did we do bad? Yeah. You know, and we talk about technology nowadays with the kids, and I said, listen, use technology for the right reasons. Yeah. You know, when I got introduced to the film room, you know, my freshman year in college, I'm sitting here and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go back because I really cared about the game. I really loved the game. I went back and I watched every single game I played in. And I pulled every single bad play that I had. And I pulled every good play I had. Okay, make it a highlight film. I made it a highlight film. I watched the bad plays more. And then I went and put my cleats on. I said, okay, this is embedded into me because I did this terrible. I needed to get this better. My get off was too slow. I didn't use my hands enough. Yeah. Right? I wasn't violent enough with my hands. And this is me in the room by myself. Now this is me working on this stuff. You know, and what always rang in my head was, what am I doing when nobody else is watching? Yeah. That's where I put the holes in the tire. I tied the old rope around it. And I said, my get off will get faster. Yeah. And I will get faster. I will get faster. Yeah. And that was just me wanting to just be ready for next season. Yeah. Wasn't thinking about the NFL. Never thought about it. Only focused on what I can control. Yeah. You know, and I know I had to get ready for the next season. So, do you think kids have that mindset these days? If you're around me, you got it. Yeah, if you're around me, you got it. If you focus, if you're trying to focus on, I need to go to this college showcase, you got to prepare to go to that college showcase. Yeah. You know, and like I said, I'm just constantly going back to them. Listen, your opportunities are there. Yeah. You got to work for it. Yeah. I tell them, like, your potential only take you but thus so far. And we use the brick wall. You're not going to run through a brick wall. You're sane. You got to find a way around it. This brick wall will bring you, your potential will bring you to this brick wall. That's a Michael Jordan quote also. Yeah. Right. So when you ran into a wall, you know, just... You're going to keep running into a wall, you're going to figure out a way around it. You know, you think about it. He's not going to run into the heart of the Pistons defense. No. No, I got to figure a way how to go in there and do damage. Yeah. You know, I got to figure a way over this wall, around this wall. And if I get there, can I jump high enough to get over it? Yeah. You got to figure it out. Yeah. You know? And they trust you, and you've built that trust. And I think that's really important. And, you know, like, I do think these kids, everyone's like, we can't make them tougher because we always have to care about their feelings. I think you can care about a kid's feelings and make them tougher. What do you think about that? I 100% agree. Okay. You know, we never put aside their feelings because they are humans. Yeah. And we spoke about this earlier where, you know, you got to know how to coach. Yeah. Okay. You got to know, okay, I can go yell at her. I can go yell at him. But no, I can't yell at this one because if I yell at her or him, you know, they're going to call me the rock. They're going to fold up. You don't want to lose them. Yeah. You got to understand how to coach them. You know, and I think it was John Wooden's book, you know, the coaching theory. Yeah. And I read it before I started coaching, and I was like, you got to know who you can. You know, he knew to leave the quarterback alone, but he knew I had to go yell at the center because that will get him fired up.
Yeah.
All right, leave the left tackle alone because he might kill me before I say 2 words to him, because he already had that switch going.
Yeah.
So you got to know your personnel. You got to know your
Mhm.
people. You got to know your clientele that's in front of you.
Yeah.
You know, and me, when I run group sessions, you know, and it's constantly, every kid is different.
Yeah.
Every kid is different. It's like every sport is different.
Mhm.
You know, and you got to know how to reach them. And if you have a hard time reaching them, then you got to go reevaluate yourself
Yeah.
to figure out how to reach that one person, because I got to make a difference in this one person.
Mhm. You're the
You know,
trusted adult.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And that's why they're here. If they didn't feel safe
Yeah.
there, they wouldn't be here. You know, they wouldn't be around me. And I said, listen, not everybody gets my energy.
Yeah.
You know, maybe this ain't the place for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I always keep it 100 with them. I tell them, like, listen, maybe today ain't your day. You know, your 80% is not going to be enough for you today.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, why? And I'm like, because your 80 is your 100 today, and you're looking for an easy way out.
Yeah.
You need to understand, listen, I am a little under the weather, but I got to show up and I got to perform.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we keep coming back to Michael Jordan. He had the flu. I get it. These kids are not Michael Jordan. I'm not Michael Jordan. No, like, he went off against Utah with the flu.
Yeah, but
You know?
when you say that, the only separation between a Michael Jordan and a Val or me is just like, yes, he was super talented, yes, but it was his mindset. Do you know what I'm saying? So we all have a Michael Jordan inside of us. Like, I do believe that.
Mm-hmm.
And like, these kids think I'm never, so it's imposter syndrome, right? Like, I experience it as well. Like, I'm never, like, I see people on stage and I'm like, I'm never going to be able to speak in front of 30,000 people. Why? Why am I any different than him? Mm-hmm. His whole story is about his mom and dad divorce. I'll give you a story. Yeah. And I tell myself, but what did he do? His mindset was to dive into sacrifice and structure. And he did the same thing every day. And he believed so much, it made him sick. That's how much he believed.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's what these kids, that's my biggest message with these kids is like, you can have a Mamba mentality. Mm-hmm. You can be Kobe. Yeah. You know what? What do you think? He's just lucky? You know, like you can
work for it.
You got to work for it. Like, and maybe sometimes like things go in either direction. Like you look at Caitlin Clark right now. I mean, phenomenal.
Like, and that's the noise that she gets.
Yeah.
You know, that it fuels her fire. Like, yeah. And what fuels an athlete's fire? You know, what drives you to want to go every day and perform at the best of your ability? Mm-hmm. You know,
and identify it. They have, and that's the big thing, Val. Do they know how to identify it? Mm. Just like you said, what'd you say?
What's your why?
Yeah, what's your why?
What's your purpose?
Yeah, and what makes you rich? You asked a girl,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, they were like, "What makes you rich?" I'm like, "It's not about how much money I have. Mm-hmm. It's not about me.
Yeah,
right. It's about the difference I can make in every single one of you. Mm-hmm. You know, and you know, when you're dealing with the young minds, they're such a sponge to you. Mm-hmm. And when they really listen to you, they might not listen right now. Yeah. Down the road, they're like, that's what he was talking mm-hmm. about. My trainer back home said this. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Calcify yourself over. Yeah. Right? That's how.
Say that again.
Calcify yourself over. Right. That. So when you calcify yourself over, you toughen yourself up, mm-hmm. and you can handle any adversity, any obstacle that's mm-hmm. thrown your way. Mm-hmm. You know, the mindset of a champion can go further than any sport. Yeah. And if you have that mindset, you'll be successful in a Fortune 500 company. Mm-hmm. You know, when you walk into a room for an interview and you got 10 suits on one side, you know, and you're the only person in the room that they got their eyes on. Mm-hmm. Don't put your head down. Yeah. No, you got to have that mindset of a champion. And that's where that's why I feel sports plays a major part. Mm-hmm. When you got to step foot off that field into mm-hmm. reality, into mm-hmm. life, where you got to now go structure a company. Mm-hmm. You know, you got to carry yourself, you know, as always. Yeah. You know, you hold yourself to the highest respect, no matter if nobody else holds you that way. Yeah. You know, who cares what somebody else thinks about you? Right? Is who are you when you stare yourself in the mirror? Mm-hmm. Do you respect yourself? You carry yourself that way. Yeah. Mindset of a champion.
Yeah, 100%. And they learn that from their coaches. And they learn it from the environments they're in. Mm-hmm. And that's why their job should be taken I mean, I think it's taken seriously. I know there's a lot going on in the world, but I think we really need to dive into that because ultimately we're creating humans that, whether you're with them for 1 season, 4 seasons, whatever it is, you're putting them out into the world one day and they're going to listen to you before they listen to their parents at that age. And when you are planting, yeah, and when you're planting those seeds, that's kind of what I say. Like, they might not hear it right away, but like, even you take your own self, right? Like, it takes me a while to remember what my coaches were saying to me. And then I'm like, oh, wow, now I get it. Cause I'm in this phase of my life. And now it's making so much more sense when my mind could connect with my emotions and stuff like that. And like, sometimes when I contact schools and I'm like, I really want to come in and talk to your athletes and can I meet with your coaches? And they're like, yeah, but like, what's an hour going to do? Like, let me tell you what an hour is going to do. And I used to believe that it's not going to do anything, but you know what? If one kid remembers one thing I said, you know what? Like, then I did my job. Like, and maybe one day down the line, they'll remember a couple things I said, but it's so important that we don't just give up and say, it's not going to matter. It does matter. I mean, when I look at athletes in the world today, like, I'm always like, yeah, I'm going to hire you. Did you play a sport? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, see, like, even with Jimmy, I'm like, I gotta hire athletes around here. Yeah. He's like, they're always busy. They're playing, they're playing all the time. They can't work. And I'm like, it doesn't matter because when they're here, they get it.
Exactly. And they develop that work ethic.
Yes.
And they have fun with it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's just fascinating to me that we need. So you were talking before and you said old school. You talked about putting that like the rope on the tire or whatever. Like, in 20 years, what scares me is that like our athletes now aren't going to have those old school stories. That they're not going to be able to say, yeah, when I walked to school in the snow. Yeah. You hear that one? They're canceled school. When it was snowing for me, I walked to school in a blizzard. Yeah. But I want to give these kids something that it's like, hey, you know what? Like, back when I was in school, like, we had a focus on like this activity, or I was able to be a kid this way. And I think we really need to dive into that because in 20 years, they're going to tell the story to be able to help somebody. And we can't miss that. Can't miss that boat. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to create their own story. They're going to have their own, line to cross at some point. And 20 years from now, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know. And it's hard to say.
Yeah.
But all you could do is just keep feeding them the information.
Yes.
And have them create their own story. And like, okay.
Because there are kids that go in the backyard and still shoot 3-inch times. I mean, you look at Caitlin Clark's. Everyone wants to see what she does. Do you do that? Right. Like, you say to these athletes, well, she's so good. Well, you could be too. Do you go do that? No, I don't have time.
Well, that's that, and that's the other thing. Time is something that you control. And it's what you want to do with your time.
Yeah.
How productive do you want to be? How successful do you want to be at what you want to accomplish? So you got to put the time in.
Yeah.
An hour a week, is not enough.
Yeah.
And we always say, let the times add up. So if you really want to be phenomenal at soccer, go outside and get the touches on the wall. Give me 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? What's 30 minutes of your day?
Yeah.
Okay, you can't do 30, give me 15. Right? At least you got better today within those 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I always tell them, say, listen, find something that makes you better. What did you do to get better today? And it can be anything. It can be anything. It can be something in school. How did you better yourself as a person?
Yeah.
Because that will help you better yourself as an athlete. Do something to create separation from everybody else.
Yeah.
And when you feel like you can't go, think about somebody else is outworking you.
Yeah.
Somebody is coming for your spot. They want it. There's somebody from a different country working harder than you.
Yeah.
Like in the NBA. The NBA is shifting. And there's no stopping it.
No.
They're bigger. They're faster. They're skilled. They can jump. I mean, got a 7-footer shooting threes.
Jeez.
Like, they're skilled.
Yeah.
Yeah. today's athletes are so skilled,
Yeah.
and their skill set got to match up with their work ethic.
Yeah.
And when that matches up, take flight.
Yeah.
You know,
It's over.
and it's the same thing in female and male.
Yeah.
You know, I don't separate them. I let the athletes train.
Yeah.
You know, because you know the girls got a certain finesse about them.
Mm-hmm.
They always say guys are naturally physical.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, girls, I want you to be physical with the finesse. Guys, I want you, and I use it as an example. I'm like, it was killing y'all right now.
Yeah.
God, it's the funniest thing. The guys were like, no, she's not. I'm like, she's 5 yards in front of you.
Yeah.
You gonna accept that? I was like, and she's not even going hard right now.
Yeah.
I was like, go harder. Prove them wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden the guys get turned up, and then the competition just rises, and then you start. I'm just like, y'all have arrived, and I just sit back and smile because I'm just like, now y'all understand why.
Yeah, I mean, and you can definitely feed off of each other. There was like a study shown, like, well, somebody did a survey, and it was like the girls didn't want to live with the boys because they, felt intimidated and they wanted to have their own time in the weight room. And I feel like, again, what is the culture? What messages are you sending? Like, if the boys are accepting the girls and it isn't about this social media, like, environment, then I think it's healthy. Like, I wanted to be with the boys. Like, I was a tomboy, like, right. So, and then there's the guys that need that, like you're saying, that influence from a female athlete that I think can be powerful. But again, it's like that right culture. It's what are you feeding them? What are you saying? Like, are you creating it? If they're embarrassed, if I have 5 girls, they're in the corner embarrassed to be around the boys, then here's my problem. Those 5 girls have no self-esteem. And then now it's my job to work on their self-esteem, to give them the confidence to be strong enough to be around the boys. Where else are they going to learn it if they're not learning it there?
Throw them in the fire.
Throw them in the fire. Right, Val? Like, let's just not say, well, they're embarrassed because the boys are around. Well, guess what? In the world, if they're going to be something successful, you're going to have to go in front of a bunch of men. And if you prepared for it in your high school weight room, then I bet you're ready for that opportunity. Like, I look up and I see a bunch of like 40-year-old middle-aged men. I'm like, all right, here goes. I mean, they're looking at me like, mental health lady, what do you got for me? And I'm like, this is what I got for you. But because I grew up around men, like, and you know what I mean? Like, I think it's important. And I think that I get it in some ways, but then I also get it in ways that if you're sending the message and the culture's there, it's different. So definitely.
I agree. Listen, you can't be shy. I mean, you gotta let yourself shine. And the guys cheer on the girl like going for max outs next week. The girl put on 275 in the bar and she gets it. Okay, right. Pump her up. Like, this is the atmosphere. This is where it's coming. Like, cool. Like, I'm looking forward to Friday night watching the girls basketball play. Like, it's exciting. Watching a stifling team like South Carolina, they just play physical. Like, you see the things that these girls are doing nowadays. Caitlin Clark, like a Steph Curry, the range. I'm just like, all right.
It's cool.
It's fun. So you get 2 great days of back-to-back basketball.
I have an opportunity to go to the Final Four, actually. You want to go? It's $12.50 a ticket for all 3 games. Want to jump in the car to go to Cleveland? I can't find anybody to come with me. My husband said, you can go, but I won't give you any money to buy the ticket. And then I'm like, my friend has a suite and she bought all these tickets. And I was like, I'm actually thinking about getting in my car. I mean, how cool would it be? A 9-hour drive by myself, listen to podcasts, go to the Final Four and like experience that. I don't know, Val. I might jump in the car tomorrow morning and just freaking go.
You should go for it.
I should, right? I should definitely go all in.
That's an opportunity.
I'm just going to take the camera and just like record myself talking for 9 hours. Not just kidding. So we have like a minute left. So I just want to ask you just a couple like fun questions, like your favorite book you ever read.
Oh man.
What comes to mind?
I have to say The Coaching Theory.
Okay.
By John Wood. I can read that over and over. I take an interest in Coach K's book too. But The Coaching Theory.
Okay. Awesome. And what's your favorite food?
Oh man. Right now? That's a Caesar wrap.
Caesar wrap. All right.
That's Caesar wrap. I love my Caesar wraps.
I love it. Okay. And define resilience for me in Val's words.
Oh man. Live in the moment, work for the future, have fun with what you're doing, you know, and embrace adversity. Don't be afraid of it, you know, because it will calcify you over, and it can structure you for the rest of your life.
Awesome. Val, thank you.
Anytime. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.